Dive into the life of Albert Camus, a man born in French Algeria who would grow to become one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century. Born in 1913, Camus's upbringing was marked by poverty, shaping a worldview that would later permeate his philosophical and literary works. His Algerian-French background played a significant role in his perspective, as he straddled two worlds, both French and Algerian, an insider yet also an outsider. This duality is reflected in his work, which often grapples with themes of alienation and identity. Rising to prominence in the mid-20th century, Camus became a leading figure in the existentialist movement, although he himself preferred the term absurdist. His works, such as The Stranger and The Myth of Sisyphus, are considered cornerstones in modern philosophy and literature. Camus was not just a philosopher, but also a man deeply influenced by his experiences, leaving an indelible mark on his work. In the heart of Camus' philosophy lies a concept he termed the absurd. This notion is essentially the conflict between our human desire for understanding and meaning and the silent, indifferent universe. Unlike existentialism, which posits that life's meaning is subjective, the absurd argues that life is inherently meaningless. Picture the Greek myth of Sisyphus, condemned to roll a boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down again, an eternal cycle of futile effort. In Camus' view, this is a perfect metaphor for our human condition. We strive for meaning in a world that offers none. Similarly, in his novel The Stranger, the protagonist Meursault embodies the absurd man. He lives without purpose, reacting to life's events without emotional engagement, detached from the societal norms and expectations. His life is a stark illustration of the absurd condition. Yet the absurd for Camus was not a philosophical dead end, but a starting point. Among Camus' works, The Myth of Sisyphus stands as a potent exploration of absurdity. This essay, a cornerstone of Camus' philosophical thought, grapples with the absurdity of life and the human condition. The central argument is a profound yet simple one. Life, in all its repetitiveness and monotony, is essentially absurd, a sentiment echoed in the metaphor of Sisyphus. In Greek mythology, Sisyphus, a king known for his deceitfulness, was condemned by the gods to an eternity of pushing a boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down each time he neared the summit. This endless cycle of futile effort symbolizes the human condition for Camus. We, like Sisyphus, are caught in a ceaseless cycle of tasks and routines, striving for meaning in a universe that is indifferent to our existence. The absurdity of life, as Camus sees it, lies not in its hardships or sufferings, but in its lack of inherent meaning or purpose. We are constantly seeking answers to our existence, yet the universe remains silent, indifferent. This disconnect between our human desire for understanding and the silent universe is the essence of the absurd. But Camus doesn't suggest we despair in the face of this absurdity. Instead, he encourages us to embrace it, to continue pushing our boulders up the hill, much like Sisyphus. We must imagine Sisyphus happy, says Camus, for it is in his struggle that he finds meaning. Despite the futility of his task, Sisyphus continues to push, to strive. It is in this never-ending struggle, this constant rebellion against the absurd, that we find our purpose. The metaphor of Sisyphus serves as a reminder that life's meaning isn't handed to us on a silver platter. It needs to be created, carved out of the raw material of our existence. It's a call to embrace the absurdity of life, to find joy in the struggle, to keep pushing our boulders no matter how steep the hill. In the ceaseless labor of Sisyphus, Camus found a symbol of human existence. Through him, we are encouraged to acknowledge the absurd, to rebel against it, and to carve our own meaning out of the stone of existence. Rebellion, for Camus, was a natural response to the absurd. It was not a violent uprising or a call for revolution, but a silent, personal revolt against the senseless world. Camus saw rebellion as an affirmation of humanity in the face of the indifferent universe. It was a refusal to accept the absurdity of life without protest. Yet Camus was careful to distinguish between rebellion and revolution. While rebellion was a personal act of defiance, revolution, he believed, was a collective attempt to impose a new order, which often led to tyranny. In Camus' literary universe, his characters often embody this spirit of rebellion. Take Meursault from The Stranger, for instance. His refusal to conform to societal norms, his rejection of religious beliefs, and his acceptance of his impending execution all symbolize a rebellion against the absurdity of existence. Rebellion, in Camus' view, was a form of resistance to the irrationality of the world. Camus' philosophy also gave birth to a new kind of protagonist, the absurd hero. This hero isn't like the ones in traditional heroic narratives. Instead of triumphing over adversity, the absurd hero accepts the ultimate futility of their actions. They're aware of the absurdity of life, yet they continue to strive to seek meaning, mirroring Sisyphus pushing his eternal boulder. Take Meursault from The Stranger, for example. He's indifferent, detached, and doesn't conform to societal norms. Yet in his indifference, he's authentic, living in the moment, unburdened by the past or the future. Then there's Dr. Rieur in The Plague, a man who fights tirelessly against an unstoppable plague, knowing his efforts won't change the inevitable outcome. He fights not for victory, but for the sake of rebellion, for the affirmation of his humanity. In The Absurd Hero, we see Camus' philosophy personified. Camus' philosophy extended into the realm of ethics and morality. He was a staunch critic of traditional morality, often finding it too rigid and disconnected from the human experience. Instead, he proposed a more fluid concept of positive morality, rooted in the embrace of life's absurdity. In Camus' view, traditional morality often served as a crutch, a means to avoid confronting the absurd. He argued that by discarding these external moral frameworks, individuals could develop a more authentic ethical compass, one forged in the crucible of their own experiences and struggles. Yet critics have challenged Camus' stance on ethics. They argue that his rejection of traditional morality could lead to moral relativism, a slippery slope where anything goes. Despite these critiques, Camus remained steadfast in his belief that morality is a deeply personal undertaking. For Camus, morality was not about obedience to rules, but about creating meaning in a meaningless world. Beyond philosophy, Camus' legacy is also deeply rooted in his literary works. His novels, plays, and essays are a rich tapestry of existential thought and absurdist philosophy. From the alienation of Meursault in The Stranger to the futile struggle against an invisible enemy in The Plague, Camus painted a vivid picture of the human condition, trapped in an absurd universe. In his works, recurring themes of rebellion, freedom, and the absurd resonate powerfully. Characters are often caught in the crossfire of societal expectations and their own desires, echoing Camus's own struggle with the absurdity of existence. These narratives have left an indelible impact on existentialism and modern literature. Camus' exploration of life's inherent meaninglessness and the subsequent human rebellion have inspired countless writers and philosophers. His works challenge us to confront our own existence, to question, to rebel, and ultimately to live despite the absurd. Camus' literature is a testament to his philosophy, immersing readers in the world of the absurd. Camus' influence extends far beyond his lifetime. His exploration of the absurd resonated with a post-war world, shaping the landscape of existential philosophy and modern literature. His Algerian-French heritage added a unique perspective, enriching his work with layers of cultural complexity. Camus stands shoulder to shoulder with contemporaries like Sartre and Beauvoir. Yet his philosophy veers from their existentialist path, carving its own niche in the annals of thought. His writing style, raw and poignant, has inspired countless authors, from Vonnegut to Murakami. His ideas about the absurd rebellion and the absurd hero resonate in our contemporary society, where questions of meaning and morality continue to confound. His works like The Stranger and The Myth of Sisyphus continue to be dissected in classrooms, book clubs, and cafes around the globe. Camus's philosophical legacy continues to provoke thought and inspire readers around the world. Like all great thinkers, Camus' ideas were not without controversy. Critics often took issue with his philosophy of the absurd, arguing that it was overly pessimistic or even nihilistic. Some found his rejection of traditional morality troubling, while others questioned the feasibility of his concept of positive morality. Camus' political views also sparked controversy. His stance on Algerian independence, for instance, was seen by some as contradictory, given his own Algerian-French background. His involvement in the French resistance and later disillusionment with communism also drew criticism and debate. In modern times, interpretations and re-evaluations of Camus' work continued to stir discussion. Some scholars have sought to revisit his philosophy in light of contemporary issues such as climate change and social injustice. Others have explored the intersectionality of his ideas with other philosophical movements. Despite the controversies, Camus' philosophy remains a significant contribution to modern thought. His ideas continue to provoke, challenge, and inspire, affirming his place in the pantheon of great philosophers. Albert Camus, the philosopher of the absurd, left an enduring mark on the world. A man of Algerian French descent, he wove the threads of absurdity into a tapestry of philosophical thought, challenging us to question the nature of existence itself. His central idea, the concept of the absurd, was a bold divergence from traditional philosophical narratives, offering a fresh perspective on the human condition. Through his works, such as The Myth of Sisyphus and The Stranger, Camus painted vivid portraits of rebellion against the absurd, of the absurd hero, and of a morality that is positive and life-affirming. Even today, his ideas resonate, challenging us to confront the absurdity of our own lives. His influence continues to ripple through the realms of philosophy, literature, and culture, proving the enduring relevance of his philosophy. Camus's works are a treasure trove of thought-provoking ideas waiting to be explored. In the face of an absurd world, Camus invites us to rebel, to create, and to find our own meaning.